Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you can supercharge your visualization with this simple trick. So what is the trick? Well, what I do is I utilize the power of language to help me visualize. I want you to think back to the last time you read a really good book. When you were reading the book, did you just see the words on the paper and not think anything more of it? Or when you read those words, did they conjure up imagery in your mind? I'm sure they did, and that's what we're going to be using in this method. In other words, instead of just trying to put together something in your mind when you're visualizing, you can actually utilize language to create descriptions of what you want to see, and then your mind from those descriptions will build its own imagery without much effort. So say for example, you're wanting to visualize a layout of a room that you're planning. Well, all you have to do is write down a description of what the room would look like. So you can say, as I enter the room, I see a wide open space, and then I see a nice blue leather couch sitting in the middle, and opposite that is a wide flat screen TV. Just something like that, except you'd go into more detail obviously since you're describing a whole room. And just from those little descriptions there, you probably got some imagery appearing in your mind as I said them. And that's the trick to it. Instead of trying to visualize the room and fill it with things, you just listen to the language that you've prepared and your mind will do it all for you. And the great thing about this is you can utilize it in other ways too. Say you're just visualizing normally and, for example, you're meditating and you're visualizing a beautiful, lovely place so that you feel calm and relaxed. You're just imagining yourself in like a big, wide open field. Well, say now you want to leave the field, but you can't see anything but field on all sides, and you want to imagine some place for you to travel in your mind. So what you can then do at that point is use this description to add something to what's already there. So you can say, as I part the grass in front of me, I look forward and I see a big pyramid rising up out of the earth in front of me, towering above me, with the bricks all shining as the sunlight dazzles across them. Something like that. If you use descriptive words as well, then it helps your mind cement an image in place. And you can also use words that suggest that the scenery is changing as you look at it. Like when I said that it was towering up out of the earth, I did that to make sure that the existing imagery changed. And so you can see how this would be really useful, because sometimes, you know, we're visualizing something and it's hard to change it, because once you get a picture stuck in our mind, it's hard to change. So where else can you use this? Well, this is a really interesting one. You can use this to actually alter an image of a memory that you have. Now, this isn't going to change the memory itself, but say, for example, you want to visualize something that's very similar to a memory you had, but not quite that memory. Well, what you can do is you can visualize the memory, just remember it, and then you can use the same trick. You can describe something that wasn't there in the memory, and your mind will listen and it will create the imagery. Now in the example just before, I used the words I used first person to describe what I was seeing, but it's actually best to use third person and to say you're looking at this, you're seeing this, you're witnessing this, you're feeling this. And the reason for that is your subconscious mind prefers to be addressed in third person. When you address it in first person, it just sort of understands that you're doing some kind of inner monologue and it doesn't really pay attention to that. Whereas if you actually say, you are seeing this, you are feeling this, then it takes it as if it's from another person and it's an instruction of some kind. So it listens to it more intently and it acts on it. Now you can use this in all sorts of fun ways. I want you to try something right now. Close your eyes and try and picture a football. Doesn't matter if it's a English football or an American football, whatever kind of football, just picture one. Imagine it glowing in some kind of colour. Just pick your favourite colour and imagine it glowing like that. Now, as it's glowing, you see it's starting to spin in a certain direction. I want you to watch it spinning in that direction. And as it spins, you can see it's picking up speed and spinning more and more and more and more, until it's almost a whirlwind and you can just see all these sparks of energy of the colour you chose spitting out of it in every direction. Some of these sparks are so hot you can almost feel them scalding your face as they're bouncing around. So, how was that? Notice how I started off with something simple that anyone can visualize, and then, using descriptive language, I altered the imagery, I made the imagery move and do things, and I added to it in a way that's something that we probably couldn't picture that easily just from the get-go. If I told you to imagine a spinning, glowing neon football that was shooting sparks out everywhere, and I didn't describe it in detail, then you wouldn't get such a clear image of it. So let's try this again with something even more complicated. I want you to imagine the room that you're in right now. Imagine that it was completely bare and empty, and that the walls were completely white. There were no windows, no doors, and it was sealed, white walls on all sides. Now in this room, you can see a chest. It's sitting in the far corner of the room, and it looks dusty, as if it hasn't been touched in a while. And you can see a keyhole on this chest. It looks like there's a key for it, but you can't seem to see the key anywhere. As you reach into your pocket, you suddenly notice that there's a key in there, and you pull it out, put it into the lock, and you can see yourself turning the key in the lock. As the key turns, you hear a loud click sound, and the chest flings open. Inside it, you can see that it doesn't seem to obey normal laws of the universe, and in fact, inside it, there seemed to be another whole room. And as you reach into this chest, you start to pull out thing after thing. First you pull out a wallet that's just pouring out money, so much that it starts to flood your feet, and more money piles up all around you, and you're sinking in all this money. You're struggling to breathe now, there's just so much money everywhere. And as you wade through this money, you fall through the box, and you land on a mountain of Ferraris, all bright red, all shining, all waiting to be driven. And as you climb into one of these Ferraris to drive it, and you turn the key in the engine, you see a large meteorite zooming past, and behind it is a message trailing to tell you, this is what you can visualize if you try. See that? See how much more complex things we've been visualizing with just a little bit of description. Now normally when you sit down and you try to visualize something, you get this kind of blurry, vague image of what you're seeing, and that's not what you should be getting. You should be getting something of a similar quality to when you're reading a story. So I suggest, next time you want to visualize something, write yourself a little script. Record the script on your computer or on your phone or something like that. Play it back, and in a relaxed state, listen to it, and let the imagery come to mind automatically. Now as a bit of a bonus tip, if you watched my earlier video on how to lucid dream, which I'll put a link to up in the video right now, if you watched that and you've had some lucid dreams, you might be wondering how to go to different places or make someone appear or make something appear. And a lot of people will tell you just to use your mind and just to imagine that that thing is there. Well, now that you know this simple trick about visualizing, you can use this in your lucid dreams as well. Say you want to walk through your door and come out on a tropical island. You can say, and behind this door, you know a vast tropical island awaits, with treasure and the heat of the Syrian sun filling you with warmth and joy. And at this point, you can open the door, and as you step through, it's likely you won't have to do any thinking at all. You come straight out onto that island because your mind has already pictured up what it's going to look like based on your description. And what's interesting about this is a lot of the time when we're actually in a lucid dream, we don't think in the same way that we do when we're awake. So for example, if you say something like that, you might not actually see the picture in your mind. But what will happen instead is the picture will start to form in front of you, either behind the door or just in front of your eyes. So you can use this tip for all sorts of things. Say you want to be able to fly and other traditional methods don't work for you. Well, what you do is you just describe yourself flying. You say, as I walk forward, I start to float up off the ground, and gradually I gain height. and gradually I gained speed and velocity, zooming up into the atmosphere and all the way into space. Faster than Superman, faster than a bullet. As I zoom through space, I can see the planets all around me. And I pick one of them and I start to glide towards it, seeing it grow bigger and bigger. As I get closer, I see that it's Jupiter, with its big red spot glaring at me. And I dive towards it. At the speed of light, I zoom through the big red spot and find myself in an entirely new world, inside Jupiter itself. Something like that will do wonders for you in a lucid dream. It's really crazy the things you can do with a little bit of descriptive language. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. If you're interested in ways that you can use visualization and various other techniques to help improve your life, then check out the ebook I've written, 4 Steps to Manifesting Anything. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you liked the video, remember to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below letting me know your thoughts.